The light, the thunder, the dunes of sand, the sun, the moon, man, and the land. If we work a little, we might see. If we think and reflect on each rock and tree, there's no measure to all its worth. Sustainable earth, sustainable earth. The ant, the spider, the gnat, the bee, the cow, the cattle, the unity. If we care a little, you and me, if we play our part in ecology, there's no measure to all its worth. Sustainable earth, sustainable earth, sustainable earth, sustainable earth. La 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 la.
I am Hamza.
I'm Ismian. I'm Amel. I'm Jasmine. I'm Sarah. I'm Harris. I'm Dawn. I'm Rani. I'm Hanya. I'm Gabriel. I'm Robbie. And this is the Sustainable Earth Show. We are here to learn about one of Allah's wonders. Allah has placed us in this world to worship Him alone.
And part of that worship is for us to take care of the earth. So let's do it together.
We are a new generation. The task has just begun. We can be the strongest nation, caretakers of the world. Everyone, sustainable earth, sustainable earth, sustainable earth, sustainable earth.
In today's show, we'll be discussing about clouds and rain. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Quran all about the formation of clouds and rain in chapter 30, verse 48.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الله الذي يرسل الرياح فتثير سحابا فيبسطه في السماء كيف يشاء ويجعله كسفا فترى الودق يخرج من خلاله فإذا أصاب به من يشاء من عباده إذا هم يستبشرون.
It is Allah who sends the wind, which stirs up clouds, which He spreads about the sky, however He wills. He forms them into dark clumps, and you see the rain come pouring out of the middle of them. When He makes it fall on those of His servants He wills, they rejoice.
Today, inshallah, we'll learn all about clouds and rain. We'll also discuss the problems us humans cause to the environment, like acid rain.
I always wondered how clouds are formed. When I was young, I used to like looking at the clouds. When I was young, I thought clouds were cotton candy. Are they really cotton candy?
Well, that's a great thought. But no, clouds aren't made out of cotton candy. Would you like to see what clouds are really made of?
Yeah!
Well, let's do an experiment.
This is really exciting. I would like to see how clouds are formed with this experiment. Why don't you join us by getting these items for the experiment? An empty glass jar, hot tap water, ice cubes, matches. Make sure your parents are around when you are doing this experiment.
Well, we're at our experiment table. The girls have something to show you guys. What do you have here?
I have a glass jar with water in it and some matches.
Oh. And you?
I have a see-through jar so you can see the clouds better.
So this experiment is going to teach us how we make clouds. So let's get started. Jasmine, dump your jar of water into that, please. I'm going to light the matches. As soon as I put it in there, you put the ice over it. Quick. Ooh, look at that. Do you see that? Yeah. It doesn't look like cotton candy, hey?
Wow, did you see that? Clouds are formed from water vapor. Water vapor rising from the warm water condenses onto the smoke particles and forms a cloud. Subhanallah.
Okay, so join us in our next activity when we're going to go find out how you get the cotton candy clouds. Amazing.
Did you know that clouds can reach quite an astonishing weight? A cloud can hold up to 300,000 tons of water. How much is 300,000 tons of water? Well, have you ever seen an elephant? An average male elephant weighs about 6,000 kilograms or 6 tons. Now divide the 300,000 tons of water by the weight of an elephant. You will get 50,000 elephants raining on us. Subhanallah, glory be to God. We should be grateful that Allah does not allow the rain to fall on us all at once. Can you imagine what would happen to us? A miracle from Allah.
Amazing.
Hamza, you said you would tell us about how these cotton candy clouds are formed.
You asked me inside about how clouds become like cotton candy. Well, clouds actually form in stages. Let me see if I can spot the different stages of the birth of a cloud. Look up there. Can you see that light white over the blue sky? That's the first stage of the birth of a cloud. Cloud droplets are forming. Now, let's look at that cloud over there. It looks like a white haze. That's the second stage of the birth of a cotton candy-like cloud. Well, as more cloud droplets form, the young cloud starts to become visible. It becomes a white haze or wisp of white against the blue sky. Now look at that cloud. That's what you call a floating water. In this cloud, the cloud droplets are so tiny that they are able to float on the rising air currents even though they are made of liquid water. As you can see, the clouds are more white and little gray now. This cloud is thick enough to stop the sunlight from shining through. In the Quran, Allah informs us about these clouds.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. وهو الذي يرسل الرياح بشرا بين يدي رحمته حتى إذا أقلت سحابا ثقالا سقناه لبلد ميت فأنزلنا به الماء فأخرجنا به من كل الثمرات كذلك نخرج الموتى لعلكم تذكرون.
And it is He who sends the winds as tidings heralding His mercy, until when they bear a cloud heavy with rain, we lead it to a dead land and then cause water to descend thereon, and thereby bring forth fruits of every kind. Thus we bring forth the dead so that you may remember.
Oh no, I think those are rain clouds. We better run for cover.
Amazing.
Clouds are made up of millions of minuscule water droplets, which are formed when moist, warm air rises up into the sky and are then cooled down. If the cloud is very cold, it means that it is made up of ice crystals. It takes somewhere between a few minutes to an hour for a cloud to be created.
Amazing.
There's no measure to all its worth. Sustainable Earth, sustainable Earth, sustainable Earth, sustainable Earth. Sustainable Earth. Ooh, la, 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 la.
Earlier, we talked about the clouds. Now, I would like to introduce to you the second segment of the program. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also informs us about the weight of the clouds. When you see a big, heavy cloud, what do you think happens?
Starts to rain.
Yes, that's correct. But what makes it fall? How about we go find out?
Mr. Ken Van Rees will help us understand a little more about rain and clouds. He is a professor at the University of Saskatchewan in the College of Agriculture and Bioresources. We asked Mr. Van Rees what makes the rain fall.
Rain is actually water vapor that crystallizes in the clouds, and as the crystals get bigger and bigger, they get heavier, and as they fall through the cloud, they start to warm up and turn into water droplets. And as these water droplets get heavier and heavier, they fall as rain, and that's what we're seeing today. Water cycle starts with water on the ground in lakes or rivers, and as it warms up, it evaporates into a water vapor. And this vapor, because it's a gas, rises in the atmosphere and actually forms into clouds, and once it again gets heavy enough, it comes back down as rain, completing the cycle. So it's a very interesting cycle or loop that goes around and round, with water starting on the ground and moving up into the atmosphere and coming back down to the ground again.
Why is rain very important to us?
Rain. Why do we need rain? Rain is important because if we don't have rain, we can't water our crops, we can't water our trees, and we need rain to wash off pollution from tree leaves, from the ground. And we also need rain because it's important in terms of life, having water to drink.
Tell us the benefits of rain, please.
The benefits of rain. If we don't have rain, the ground dries up, and the plants all wither up and dry. And so without water, we can't grow things. And if we can't grow things, we can't eat them. And so that's why it's very important that we have rain. It's very important for life in order to live.
Amazing.
Did you know that the wettest place in the world is in India, in a city called Mausinram, Assam? The average rainfall in a year is 11,873 millimeters. That is 467 inches, which is 39 feet. It is as tall as a 2-story building. Can you imagine?
Amazing. Did you guys know rain is a great blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we should really take care of it?
How can we take care of it?
Well, we first need to know a little bit about rain before we can take care of it. We can't just hold a cup and drink the rain. It's naturally acidic.
Why is it acidic?
Well, because water vapor dissolves carbon dioxide in the air, and this forms carbonic acid.
This is not good for us then.
Well, it is not so bad, but when rain becomes more acidic, then that's not good news.
What? How could rain get more acidic?
Have you guys ever heard of acid rain?
Not really. Can you please tell us?
Acid rain is like rain or snow or fog or even dry dust containing harmful amounts of nitric and sulfuric acids formed primarily by sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides released into the atmosphere when fossil fuels are burned. When air pollution produces acid chemicals, they are mixed with rain, snow, fog, or mist. The acid in acid rain comes from sulfur oxides and nitrogen oxides, products of burning coal and other fuels, and from certain industrial processes. A lot of scientific words, huh?
Yeah.
Let me show you what acid rain can do.
Hamza will show us what acid rain can do in this next experiment. If you have these items at home, why don't you join us? You will need 2 to 3 pieces of chalk. Try to break them up into smaller pieces or grind them. A cup and vinegar.
I'm gonna put some chalk in the middle of this board and I'm gonna pour some vinegar, and then I want you guys to tell me what happens. Okay? And what you see happening. Okay?
Okay.
The chalk in this experiment is made out of the rock limestone. Limestone is also used to make concrete for our buildings and houses. When we pour over some of the vinegar, which is acidic like acid rain, onto the chalk starts to fizz. When acid rain reacts with limestone, it eats away at the rock and it starts to break it apart. Lemon juice and vinegar are acids, and you saw how it affected the chalk. They are much stronger than acid rain, so the erosion happens more quickly. But you can see how acid rain would affect rocks and even mountains over hundreds and thousands of years.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a neat experiment. What else could happen when the acid rain pours on our environment? What is the effect of this to our health? What do we do that causes this acid rain?
Wow, slow down, guys. One question at a time. You know what's best. Let's go ask an expert.
Gabriel and Hanya went to see Mr. Van Rees again to ask more about acid rain.
Can you tell us about acid rain, please?
Acid rain forms from things being released into the atmosphere. We could have fossil fuel burning plants like coal generating plants releases what we call sulfur dioxide. And when you drive your vehicle, it also releases nitrogen dioxide. And when those two chemicals react with water in the atmosphere, they turn into acid rain. It means that the water becomes very acid, like vinegar or a lemon. We would find acid rain the most in eastern Canada, like Ontario, Quebec, and New Brunswick, because those are where all the major factories, a lot of the major factories in North America are located. And so that's where we have the highest emissions of sulfur and nitrogen dioxides. We can also have some acid rain out here in Western Canada because of the oil sands or some smelters, and so, but it's not as big a concern as what we're seeing, as what has been seen in Eastern Canada.
What do we do to cause acid rain?
So acid rain is caused by burning fossil fuels like coal to generate electricity, and that's released into the atmosphere. A lot of your smelters, they take minerals like nickel, and in that process there's a lot of sulfur released into the atmosphere that can also turn into acid rain. And just by driving your vehicle back and forth also can produce a lot of nitrogen dioxide, which will interact with water to create a nitric acid. So, and that ends up in your water and your rainfall.
What happens when acid rain pours into our environment?
And so when that rain falls to the ground, it actually can affect our trees and our soils, because the acid in that water will affect the leaves and wash and break down the leaves and the needles, making them so they can't function very well. And the other important thing is when you have acid rain and it falls onto the soils, your soils normally will have some bases or things to neutralize that. But in certain parts of the world, like on the Precambrian Shield, there isn't a lot of bases to neutralize the acid. And so what happens then is that your trees start to die and washes out all your nutrients out of the soil that the trees would normally use. So acid rain can be very detrimental or kill your vegetation. And so it is a very important aspect of trying to understand how to prevent that.
What does acid rain do to our health?
I think indirectly acid rain can affect our health by affecting the trees, and trees again interact with the environment by taking pollution out of the air. So I think we don't stand out in the rain when the acid rain's falling, usually because we're inside, but I think indirectly acid rain can affect our health by affecting the environment.
What are the solutions to prevent acid rain?
One of the biggest solutions to prevent acid rain is to reduce the emissions of sulfur and nitrogen into the atmosphere. And so there are different things that industry has to do in order to reduce those emissions. But if you have places that have had acid rain, like when I grew up around Sudbury had a lot of acid rain, and because it was on the shield, all the trees were dead and it looked just like a moonscape, bare rock. And so what people did was they added lime to the rock, and grasses started to come back, and then the shrubs started to come back because the lime neutralized the acid, allowing the trees to come back as well. So Sudbury is a very different place today because of what they've done in terms of trying to remediate the effect of acid rain on the soils.
Well, you guys heard it from the expert. We need to be aware of what causes acid rain.
Thank you, Hamza. We really learned a lot today. I learned how clouds are formed. I really like the experiments. They are really cool.
The interview with the expert really helped me understand the importance of rain.
And also the experiment about acid rain. It was scary, but it was good to see the effects of acid rain.
I'm glad you kids learned a lot today, but we really need to take it home and use it in our daily lives. This is our planet after all, and we really need to be responsible for it. Well, that's the end of today's episode. Assalamu alaikum.
The light, the thunder, the dunes of sand, the sun, the moon, man, and the land. If we work a little, we might see. If we think and reflect on each rock and tree, there's no measure to all its worth. Sustainable earth, sustainable earth. The ant, the spider, the gnat, the bee, the cow, the cattle, the unity. If we care a little, you and me, if we play our part in ecology, there's no measure to all its worth. Sustainable earth, sustainable earth, sustainable earth, sustainable earth.